Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Myself Manjeet Kaur, and today we will learn about the Docker architecture. Now talking about the Docker architecture, it follows a client-server architecture where the server is the Docker daemon and the client is the CLI that you are being using in order to interact with the server or the Docker daemon. The architecture is divided into the three parts. First being the client, second is the Docker host, and third is the Docker registry. The Docker client is the CLI where you can run various commands like docker build, docker pull, docker run. All of these commands in order to interact with the server. Now talking about the Docker host, it consists of a Docker daemon and the Docker objects like containers and images, and it provides a complete execution environment for these containers. And the third one is the registry where we can store the images. Now talking about this client part, first part is that Docker user can interact with Docker through a client. So you being the user and you want to connect to the server, and there is a client in between. So client is the interacting medium between the two, and you can't directly reach to the server. You need something in between to talk to the server. So the client is that part. The client is the bridging gap between the user and the server. Next point is that the Docker client, this client. Now how client interacts with the server, it can interact with the server using a CLI command or using a remote API, or we can call it as a REST API, because that API is built in a form of a REST instructions, which is actually an HTTP request. Next point is that the Docker client can communicate with more than one daemon. So it can't only communicate with one daemon, but it can even communicate with other daemons, more than one daemons as well. Going on to the next topic, we have Docker host. And Docker host is something that contains the Docker daemon, and the Docker objects like container and images. So first point is the Docker host provides a complete execution environment to run the applications, and in Docker host we have Docker daemon and Docker objects. Okay, now coming to the next point, we have Docker daemon. The work rule of the Docker daemon is to listen for Docker API requests such as docker build, docker push, docker run. All of these requests are to be listened by the Docker daemon, and eventually he builds an image out of it using the user inputs, and then it saves into the Docker registry, which is the Docker hub or any registry. Moreover, one daemon can easily communicate with other daemons in order to manage the Docker services. So we don't have one Docker talking only to one Docker daemon. We can even have more daemons talking to multiple daemons as well. Next is the Docker objects. These are the main components of the Docker, that is containers and images. The containers are the instances of the Docker images, while Docker images is something that contains everything to run the application as a container. So the next and the last part of the Docker architecture is the Docker registry, which is the global repository of images. The first point being the Docker registry is a repository for storing Docker images, and those images can be used to create the Docker containers. So it is a global repository for storing Docker images. Next point is the Docker hub is a public registry that anyone can use, and Docker is configured to look for images on Docker hub by default. So whenever we are trying to fetch any Docker image, then the Docker will eventually go to the Docker hub to look for that image by default. You can even run your own private registry. You can create that and then you can even use that. And the last part is that one of the advantage is offered that we can create our own registry as well. You can have a private or you can create that own registry and then use it as a private, or you can even choose that registry for the public use as well. So that's it, and thanks for watching this video.